Hey guys, it's Jenny with the Wolek Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. What an honor to have such amazing rock stars joining me today. I started as just something to add some value back to agent friends across the country and here locally in Tulsa. I said, oh, let's just take the book Shift, and there's 12 tactics, so we'll just break up a chapter every month through the year of 2020. And that was my goal. And this coronavirus hit, and I thought, let's speed that up. So now we're in the 1st of April, and we're already to chapter 6. So you can tell we've gone a little faster than once a month. When I thought about the tactic 6, which is catch people in your web, internet lead conversion. First up, I thought of who were awesome agents that are still crushing it today that were in the business back then, the last time we had a big market shift and when this book was written. And then I thought, who else on top of that has always been super great at internet lead gen, and nowadays it's even other things like Facebook, etc. So these are the 2 I picked, and you're in for a treat. I'm so excited. I'm going to let Jenny go first, and just why don't you share where you are, what you do, what you got going on, like how many houses you sell and all that stuff.
Well, I am honored to be here with you 2 icons in the industry. I'm Jenny Wemert with Wemert Group Realty in Orlando, Florida. I run a boutique brokerage that operates as a team, so we lovingly call ourselves a team rich. Very dependent model, 100% team. We sold 920 plus homes last year for $272 million. We pride ourselves that we're 40% repeat referral business, and just have had team members for a very long time, and blessed with a good group of people.
Well, you're a great leader, so excited to chat and learn more. So you, Jeff, what do you got going on?
I've been in the business since 2003. I'm with Keller Realty. We have a team up in Michigan. We sell in Detroit and in Grand Rapids. Very similar units to Jenny. We did 926 transactions last year, but our average sales price is lower, and that worked out to about 191 million in sales volume. And I'm still on the ground, selling every day, still go on appointments 3 days a week, and I do about 100 transactions a year myself personally within that 900 number.
Well, let's just talk about how life has changed from back in 2009 and 10 when we went through, this book was written for us by Gary Keller, and he lined out for us these 12 tactics, and really it's a playbook on how to succeed in any market, especially ones that get shifted. And I'd say ours is shifted right now. So why don't we talk about, let's just see, where are you now with your team and your mindset, and how fast did you pivot? Jeff, why don't you start on that?
Sure. So we are. So yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of how we're handling leads right now, our focus right now is we're prospecting for future business. We've always been, if you followed any of our stuff or followed any of our video or anything we put out there, I've always been prospect for now business, and in that process, you're going to find future business. Right now, we're prospecting for future business, and while doing so, we're finding some people that want to do something now. But one of the differences in my state versus, say, Jenny's state, or even your state, Jenny, well, both Jenny's, Jenny with an I-E, Jenny with a Y, is we are considered non-essential. So I could not even go and meet with a seller to list their property. I couldn't even go meet with a buyer to do a buyer consultation right now. So, that's why we have shifted our focus to prospect for future business right now versus, I never say that. Like I'm always like, forget future business. Let's go for the now business. Well, now it's the reverse. We are now looking for future business. And while we're going through those leads, we're finding some people that are in a situation where they need to do something now. But for the most part, everyone is appreciative of our focus around one thing. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the market, it doesn't matter what kind of shift. You never prospect for appointments. You never prospect for leads. You prospect for motivation. And then you determine whether it's a lead or whether it's an opportunity for appointment, right? If I prospect for motivation and I can hear in someone's voice, Jeff, we don't care what's going on, we got to do something now, then I'm giving them all the reasons why it makes sense to do something now and all the ways we can do something now. But if I hear in someone's voice that they're scared about what's going on in the market and they weren't that motivated anyways, then I'm not selling them on all the reasons why they should list now, all the reasons why they should buy now. I'm kind of backing off and I'm treating that as a potential future client. So right now, more than ever, we're prospecting for motivation first and then determining whether it's now business or future business.
I love that and appreciate that, because as we know, we have James Shaw does a pivot shift pivot call every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And that's what we've talked about is the care. These are care calls and loving on people. And you can hear if they have motivation, that usually just comes up. So that's great.
It does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you guys got going on there, Jenny?
You know, it's an interesting time, and we are fortunate because we are considered essential, thank goodness. So we are still, up and running to a point. I mean, it's kind of frozen, but we're still able to sell homes to the motivated and, be able to put people's homes on the market, thank goodness. So not a whole lot has changed there. It almost feels like we need to be hurrying up and shifting and educating and then, and moving really fast, but really we're in slow motion and it's really like kind of confusing. We are just really trying to teach our team, maybe some new language around distressed sellers that they just they don't even know because they haven't been in the market during a distressed time. We're teaching them, some of those signs of distress or in languaging, how many days or how many months of inventory do we have on the market, absorption rates, how to calculate that, really sharpening pencils on net sheets, because if people are needing to pull their equity out and, they have to cover their closing costs, making sure we're getting that right, just some little tweaks from an education perspective. And then what we're really focused on is keeping our team's morale up and our team's motivation up and, getting them to understand that the calls that they're making today, just like Jeff said, and the connections that they're making and the resources they're providing will pay off as soon as the floodgates open and we can service that pent up demand. But not to take their eye off the ball right now. They really need to be focused on working in their business and on their business right now and be ready when we get back to work. But other than that, we're not really trying to change too much. I think that's a mistake. I think it's really overwhelming right now. The airwaves are super crowded and busy with everybody trying to give out their best advice about shifting. And really it's all about going back to basics. And this next market's going to highlight who has those basics down. Do you know who's in your database? How often are you touching them? What's their next task? What do you have a strategy around maximizing the leads that you do have? If you could tweak your conversion rate 2%, I mean, think about what that would look like, so it's just small tweaks, but keeping motivation up.
So I love strategy and I love systems. And so let's just talk about where your business was the last time we had a market shift and around internet lead generation and how it's evolved over the years. Who wants to go first on that?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I guess
Go
we can
ahead.
keep going back and forth. I'll go.
Okay.
So January 1, 2009 was my it might have been the 6th or the 5th or whatever. But anyways, January 2009 was my first day with Keller Williams. And we opened a mega agent office. And so we opened an office in the middle of a recession. Like it was scary, but at the same time, I just always believed, and I say this to our agents all the time, guys, I know this sounds whatever, and don't like put this out to the presses and the media, but it's okay. When the market crashes, we thrive. right? Like there's always more to go around for those that are going to work their butt off right now, right? If you look back at any statistic, even the statistic from the crash, all right, the amount of transactions in the United States dropped by about 20% nationwide in our last crash. But the amount of agents that dropped out of NAR, meaning the amount of agents that did not renew their membership that same year, was almost 40%. So you had like 35% decline in real estate agents, 20% decline in sales. So don't get me wrong. I mean, you felt the decline in sales. Every market did. Well, some markets felt it more than others, but for the most part, you felt the decline. But there was substantially more real estate agents. So I actually like when there's talk of shifts going on because it's going to flush out, you know. But to your question on the lead generation during that time, we were very early adapters of Zillow, and Zillow was our first advertising spend in 2011. So 9 and 10, we did not spend $1 on advertising. 2009 and 10, at the bottom of the recession, it was all cold calling, it was door knocking, it was prospecting, it was hardcore for sell by owners and expireds and mastering scripts and dialogues. I mean, that was like not even 80% of our business. That was 100%. I didn't have a great past client database. I mean, honestly, I don't even think I had it on a spreadsheet. I mean, I had nothing. So it was all just working the phones. And then when we had a little bit of money to spend on advertising, we did start spending on Zillow leads and had a lot of success with Zillow leads during the shift. And by the way, it's interesting. So I know we're probably going to cover it, but like even the conversations I'm having with my Zillow rep now, they're starting to sound a lot like the conversations of 2011, 12, when we were still kind of in the tank, meaning like, hey, there's going to be a ton of space opening up in these zip codes. So, let's just keep an eye on them. Right. So where back then everything was available and leads were like $20 a lead, anyways, costs are going down, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Costs of the leads are going down.
All right.
I was going to say exactly what Jeff did is that, I'll never forget back in like 2010, I realized that, hey, Zillow rolled out this testimonial thing on their site, and we should probably get them because it looks like we're not paying attention. Let's get a few testimonials. And we got up to like 10, and all of a sudden we were getting call after call listing. I was like, oh, we've hit the mother load. And because it was so hard to get sellers back then. But, those were back in the days when Zillow allowed you to like cover the whole state, and it was like this secret, agent profile was sort of the secret weapon, but that doesn't happen anymore. And then my husband came in the business during that time. He was a CPA at a firm. He was a partner at a firm locally. And he came over and he said, I'm going to run your business. I'm like, amen. But he was looking at where we were having success, and we were having success from Zillow and Realtor.com leads. And like Jeff, we were early adapters of those. But it was a big check to write. Oh my gosh, $1,500 a month or $500 a month at the time was a big check to write. And I think that a lot of agents think that way. It's like, oh, that's too much money to put out. And my husband looked at me because, he's got a financial brain. And he said, are you telling me you can't sell one house off of the leads you're going to, be provided for $500 a month? I'm like, of course I can. I'm the best, And he's like, then this makes sense, Jenny. It's a, 5-to-1 return or whatever it was at the time. And I was like, oh, duh. And we just started writing checks. And, we of course, we made sure that we got a return on that investment. But all of a sudden we had all these leads. And so from that point forward, I mean, really, from the beginning, but we've always built based on leads. How many leads do we have? Can we feed another family? And that's still to this day. We hire when we need to either support the agents or we have enough leads that we can't service them properly and we need another agent. And, but it all went back to that day of my husband, like, I don't understand why you're not doing this. Like, because I'm a typical agent afraid to spend money out of my bank account.
Right. So where are you guys today when it comes to Zillow or other paid leads? How is that looking for you today?
Yeah.
We're 30. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, go ahead. Keep answering.
We're 30% Zillow, Trulia Realtor.com leads. About 40% are, it's like, it works at around 30, 30, 30. It's like Zillow, ZTR, repeat referral, and then everything else.
So before I answer, I want to show you guys something really pretty. Hold on. Don't.
Okay.
Oh my God, this is happening.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
that's snow.
Oh,
It's either pretty or ugly, depending on how you look at it. You know,
oh my goodness.
we are
I
having
need to show you my
I mean, it's
sunny
not a blizzard,
wall.
but definitely some snow happened.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Well, now we've lost him because of all the excitement. Oh geez, his internet's gone down.
Oh, did we lose him? Oh no. That's
He's
so
he's
pretty.
frozen up. He's frozen up. So Jenny, let me pick your brain as he gets back. What would you say to, I mean, you're at a place where you're selling almost 1,000 homes a year and you have a big responsibility to feed lots of agents on your team whom you love and care about. And so you know that you're going to lead with leads. And what would you suggest or recommend um, to newer agents or agents without the kind of budget that you guys have at this point?
Right. If you don't have the budget to buy the leads and fill the pipeline, because basically what we do is we buy the leads, and nowadays they're more expensive than they were before.
Yeah.
So they're almost loss leaders for us as rainmakers, but it fills the database. And then because we have longevity with our agents and we have a very strong follow-up and database plan, that one lead turns into 3 or 4. So we make the money on the second, third, and fourth sale, not the first one necessarily, but it does fill the pipeline. It's back to the basics, Gary Keller, the Red Book shift. It's about building up your database and your network and how many people know, love, and trust you. And, I was looking at some numbers yesterday, I found some old Keller Williams notes, like it was like gold in my office. And it was like, if you have 1,200 people in your database, you should be able to net $1 million or something. It was like 1,200 people, or I think it was just an absurdly low number compared to what netting $1 million looks like. And but it's just knowing who's in your database. And if you don't have a big database, it's adding people to your database. So how do you do that? You do that through networking, through Facebook groups, through service projects. Any way you can get in front of people and do something that you love while you're at it. Join groups of things that you love, and you'll be magnetic to people. And if you do, whatever, charity you're doing, if you're putting your all into it, they're going to think that's how you treat your real estate business as well. And you'll gain business that way. And then from every past client, that's gold. You've got to stay in touch with them. You've got to, provide them value, be their resource, and continue the relationship into the future.
So let's talk about while Jeff is trying to get back in. That's awesome. Let's talk about, so you mentioned, so this topic today is about internet lead generation. I know you do tons of stuff when it comes to Facebook and other social platforms. So nowadays that's really a big part of your plan. So maybe just give an overview of all that. Oh, there he is.
Oh,
sorry about that, guys.
Is he back in?
This is why I should never touch technology. I tell people all the time, like, I need this working from home stuff. Almost every day I screw something up that has to do with technology. But in this case, it was just the power cord.
Oh, that's awesome. Next time we'll teach you how to
snow, though.
Yeah, the snow is beautiful. Well, Jenny was sharing about, we were kind of wrapping up with the idea of just building your database through internet. So maybe you bring people in that way and then you love on them enough. So let's go to Jeff and kind of touch on that as well.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting you say that, because when I look back, when you look at your Zillow spend, I get agents that criticize me all the time. I can't believe you spend 10,000. We were up to like over 20,000 a month at one point. We've dialed it back a little bit now. I can't believe you spend 20 grand a month. How many deals do you get from that? Well, honestly, like my direct business, I might only get 6 or 8 deals a month on 20 grand. Well, do the math. Well, Jeff, you're just breaking even. No, you don't understand. your Zillow business is direct, you have indirect, and then you have future, right? So direct, I look at, I spend 20, I'm just gonna use that as a for instance, I get 5, okay? 5 times 5, let's say my average commission is 5,000, that's $25,000, but I have a split with an agent, so now I'm actually losing money on the direct, but that's not all the business I get from Zillow. I have direct, which our goal actually on direct is to break even, so I just pick round numbers there. I have indirect, which is appointments we go on from either prospecting, database, advertising, whatever, that then go back to Zillow and see our presence on Zillow and see our reviews on Zillow. So now I get business indirectly because of that. And then I also have future business, right? I don't look at, if I spend even $5,000, I don't look at what did I get back immediately on that 5,000. When you look at our sales board every month, our agents will write up there, Zillow, 123 Main Street, source is Zillow. And then they'll write up, 769 Banana Street, source Zillow -PC. The -PC means that was a lead that we paid for 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 months ago. Well, probably wouldn't have been 3 months because it wouldn't be a past client yet, but you know what I'm saying? It was years ago that we paid for that lead that now they're turning around and selling that home they bought. So at the time, I might have looked at it as, yeah, I spent 5,000, I only made 5,000. But now I just got 5,000 more on that same client on the 5,000 I spent 3 years ago. So, obviously we don't tell Zillow about that part, but
Right.
the reality is you look at direct business, indirect business, and future business, and that is how we justify the spend. And of course, then from there, yes, it grows the database and then leads to, and I'm just talking, I didn't even mention in there, in future business, you have 2 parts. You have future business past clients, and you have future business past client referrals, right? So that's a whole other piece to it. So anyways, that's kind of my philosophy on it. And I know people get all bent out of shape. I can't believe you're, giving them money to put us out of business. If it's a profitable return, you do it, right? And you can predict it and you do it. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hearing from both of you is that you're just treating your business like a business. You are running it. You're smart about the numbers. You're not just willy-nilly throwing away money without measuring the results. So let's say that, like, I brought this up with Jenny while you were missing in the snow, and that so nowadays,
frolicking. We call it
frolic. There you go. No, we need to see that Facebook Live later on for sure. So how could someone that's watching, if they're a Keller Williams agent and they have command, or if they just don't have a budget to spend the way you guys do, what are ways that they can grow their database and bring in business from the internet, meaning any way that they come in? What are some ideas for them?
Well, can I share a slide real quick, just so I don't forget anything?
Yeah.
I just threw some thoughts together on that. Let's see here.
There you go.
I gotta get this black box out of the way. Okay.
Your Facebook looks like mine, 26 notifications.
Yeah, I know. I don't notifications. I'm like, notifications.
Yeah.
So just some over, thoughts on how to capture leads. There's so many buckets that you can look at. One, like what Jeff just talked about, is the referral, past clients, and sphere. And do you have a plan around that? We calendar that at the beginning of the year. We know what events we're going to do, what sweepstakes we're going to do, what giveaways, all of that. We can buy the leads like we've already talked about. You can do pay-per-click. Social media, if you don't have a big budget, is where it's at. And if you do events, if you do like a sweepstake, we do, for example, we just launched this today. It's buy one, give, or it's win one, give one. So they call in to register to win a $150 Amazon gift card. And if they win one, then they can give one to, someone else that's in need right now. But instead of us calling them, we have them calling us. And so this is thanks to Tony Brony. We stole this idea from him. But, now with this campaign, we can go out to all the different Facebook groups on social media and sneak it in there, because it's not direct advertising, it's offering something to that neighborhood group or to that community group. And a lot of the community leaders will let those fly, and it's sort of indirect marketing, but kind of giving something away. We also do like sweepstakes, register to win sweepstakes, where like this one is we do a spring clean. So every year we get all of our vendors to donate, something along the lines of painting one room or a landscape update or whatever it may be. We package that up, and then we do a sweepstakes where they register to win. We get over 1,000 entries every year we do this. We do it at Halloween. We give away 4 Disney tickets. We get thousands of registrations. And those registrations come into our database, and then we can retarget them, and we can call them, and we can, we can put Ylopo on them and put listings in front of them. And, so it's because now we have permission because they signed up with us, right? So it's huge to fill the database with content, or with names and phone numbers and emails. Then it's up to you what to do with all of that data once you have it, right? And then just quick, running through here, agent to agent referrals is huge. If you're not focused on that, KW is brilliant for that because of their new program and their white pages, I think. Farming, database retargeting through Ylopo. Are you maximizing your listings for every lead? Like, are you getting the sign calls? Are you basically farming that community when you have a listing? Are you doing an 8x8 into that community to let them know about your listing? Are you prospecting through it? Networking, who are your influencers? And who can refer you multiple deals? That's what we're working on right now is, we've got our database on lock and super zeroed in, but who do we know already, or what can we build, or what can we do to service people who have multiple referrals to give, like HR directors, attorneys, bankers, financial planners. That's who we're focusing on moving into this next shift to try to, beef up our presence. So that's just a quick view of, kind of what we're doing there.
Every time I see you share that kind of stuff, it makes my brain hurt, and it makes me mad at myself.
It makes me embarrassed for not preparing as well. Jeez.
Oh no, but I have to do that because I have ADD, or else you'll never get anything out of my brain.
Yeah, well, we're all in that boat for sure. So Jeff, see, I already forgot the question. You just go. Now your turn.
No, so if I'm not working with 5,000 a month, and let's say I'm working with 50 or 100 or whatever, I would do a couple things, especially relating to internet. I would create a landing page and offer some sort of value right now, something that you can do to add value to people's situation. And then I would spend money on Facebook to promote it. I would get my friends to talk about it. I would get it out to my database. I would create a buzz around it. We've done this recently, and I can share that. In fact, let me do a share.
Are you going to break it, or?
No, I do know how to do a screen share. So we did a very simple, I'll show you. So improvemyshelter.com. Basically, obviously, it's a play on a lot of what's going on right now, but it's basically giving consumers an opportunity to get some free value from us while we have extra time on our hands. So they can schedule a Zoom, they can schedule a FaceTime, they can schedule a phone call, right? Like I can do a book now. I want to know, what I can do to improve my home's value. So I'll set it tomorrow for, say, noon. Okay, private FaceTime meeting with realtor, done.
Mm-hmm.
Put in the info there. How did you hear about us? Which one of our agents did you work with? And I can book this. Now, this is only as good as however much we promote it, right? However many people are aware of it. But if you can go Facebook Live, every couple of days to talk about it if you wanted to. But so I would do something that is out of the box, create a landing page that you can generate traffic to either through Facebook or social media or buying Facebook ads. that's something that we're doing right now with the shelter in place here in Michigan. Since we can't go see anybody anyways, all of our stuff has to be done online. So, and prior to that, I would use Facebook advertising. You can generate a lot of leads. Our team isn't set up yet to use Command, but holy crap, I can tell you that our marketing team is using Command for the Facebook lead gen portion. And yeah, we're getting those leads for, $2-3 a lead. Now, me, I don't call those leads, I call those prospects, and you probably need 50 to 100 to find one lead. All right. So don't buy into this idea that, you spend $30 and you're going to generate 50 leads. Those aren't leads, those are prospects. Now, out of 50 prospects, you might find 1 or 2 leads, right? But no, that's what I would do if I wasn't working with a huge budget right now.
Well, that's awesome. You actually answered Jill, who is watching through Zoom. She had that question, so you just answered that. So if anyone
we are using Command for the Facebook lead generation portion.
Yeah. So if you are watching on Zoom and you have questions, I can see it here in the chat box. And if you're watching on Facebook, I think I can see it there as well. So thanks to everyone who is watching, because we want to make sure to add some value. I had a thought, and you guys have awesome, huge teams. And really, your agents are your clients right now. Jenny, I saw something awesome you did for your agents. Jeff has tons of agents. I'm sure they're all in your hearts. And what are things that you're doing to pour into them to allow them to keep being positive on their social media, to still bring in business and have conversations?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me share my screen again.
It was so cute.
She's gonna take them all again.
So we do a lot of things with our team. We, just like everyone, we're doing the theme groups and the happy hours and the team meetings and all of that. But what we're also doing is trying to bring our community into our team and what we're doing to connect, so it extends out. So, for example, where is it? We have when we did our theme week last week, we have what's called a Friends with Benefits group, which is where all of our raving fans are, our past clients, and we only offer out things to them. We don't advertise in that group. It's a way for all of our agents to put everybody in one place and allow us to market to them and bring that value to them. So in our Friends with Benefits group, we extended our theme to them. So we're like, show us your Christmas attire, show us your crazy socks, and then we give away a gift card, randomly to whoever participated. And we get a ton of participation on that. Like on that Christmas one, we have 53 people post Christmas stuff, and that's just our raving fans. That's not our team, but we were already doing it with our team, so it kind of extended to the community. And then, Jenny, you had mentioned this last week, we just had so much fun. Our leadership group went out and within 2 hours across the city, put out 52 of these signs that said, "This too shall pass," just like a kidney stone. But on the back, it had directions on how to pass this sign to someone else to make them smile. So we put these in our team members' yards with a little Corona, a couple of Corona beers and a lime, and just to make them smile. And we did it stealthily, and we had a great time doing it. And then, but then that sign lives on, and it's supposed to move through community or past clients or whatever it may be. So we did it to touch our team, but then we also got that benefit of the consumer and the community as well. And then social media presence from our agents all posting it, thanking us.
I have to pause you. Who thinks of all this? And obviously it's implemented and at just such this high level, and it's really just awesome.
Thank you. It's a team effort. And, like my kids, their school brought out their senior signs, and it was so touching. It was like, oh, that felt so good. Wouldn't that be nice to do something like that for our team? And so we came up with, this is what we came up with. And then Emily is just amazing. She just makes it happen. And the whole leadership team actually pitched in, but Emily makes it all look really pretty and organized.
Okay, got it. Well, we all need an Emily then. She's awesome.
Everybody needs an Emily.
Awesome. All right, Jeff, how are you staying connected with your team and inspired? I know you're on Zoom and Facebook all day long.
Yeah, so kind of like Jenny said, I mean, the stand, we have obviously all of our meetings are now digital, and we have fun with the different themes, and I mean, just keeping people positive and engaged as much as possible. Somebody asked me the question a few weeks ago, and this is I guess similar to what Jenny's doing, maybe a little bit different. Is what are you doubling down on right now? And my response was, we're doubling down on community stuff, right? Which never was like a big thing for me, but now more than ever. I mean, it started to be over the last couple of years, but now more than ever, we're doubling down on community stuff. So how you can do that as an agent is, and you don't even have to. Now, we created a 501c3. It's called Glover's Heroes, and I'll show a couple examples of how we've doubled down on the community stuff in a second. But you can go partner with a nonprofit that already exists. You don't have to be a nonprofit to do good. You can create a Facebook page, or you can create, again, a landing page or something that is something philanthropic, but without necessarily, you can't call yourself a nonprofit, you can't call yourself a charity, but you can do good things. You can create, ways to do good things. So now more than ever, we're doubling down. I'll show you a couple examples on what we've done on that. So it's good when Jenny goes first and I'm like scrambling to find something. I go find something. All right. So obviously, with everything going on here, we're giving back to nurses. Most recently, a group from our team ran around the community and dropped off. Those are Jimmy John subs that they dropped off. I think we had total of 5,000 subs that we dropped off to 20 different hospitals around Michigan. We have a program through our nonprofit where nurses get home repairs. So we did this to get, where's the document I'm looking for? There it is. So we did, the reason why we did the sandwiches was to get this document into the hospitals. So this was taped to every single box of subs that were dropped off. And we raised money through the year. For this particular project, we've got $50,000 set aside for it, to where we're going to do home improvements. We put a press release out. So anytime you do something good, you should send press releases to your media stations. You should follow up with phone calls, get them to follow you, whatever. So we put a press release out of what we were doing and, why we were doing it. We wanted to also get the word out. It wasn't just about the sandwiches. We wanted to get the word out about, about the program, so we could give back to nurses that were in need right now. So that was, this is just a couple different ways that we double down on our community right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Well, this is exactly what we've been talking about, is now is our time to be building mind share, and the market share will come later. Jeff touched on that from knowing the numbers from the last market shift, that definitely happened. You've already both shared great ideas around community. What are some other things? How are you? I guess really the main point is that you're telling a story, and now we get to do that through Facebook and through social media, where you're, of course, givers and you care about people. And I just want to ask you this question. We noticed this as a team. The first few weeks, couple weeks of all this, we really went through our database. We bulletproofed our transactions. We reached out to our current clients and future clients and our past clients and loved on them, checked in. And then we noticed that we still needed more. So what's in this market of the moment, who are you reaching out to bring in, like Jeff said early on, the motivated? How are you doing that?
Well, we are still, so, we do a call with our Zillow rep pretty frequently, a minimum of once a month. I mean, some months even every couple of weeks. And we're looking at different zip codes that are getting different returns. Right now, a lot of agents are dropping out of zip codes. So if I'm, I looked at one particular zip code that we dropped out of because we were spending $300 a lead in that zip code, but there's room available in another zip code for $80 a lead or $120 a lead. So because so many are dropping out, there's opportunities to pick up zip codes or leads at a lower cost right now, especially with companies like Realtor.com. We beat them up pretty good. I don't know if they're doing this nationwide, but they reduced our expenses by 60%. So, there's opportunities right there right now to go get those leads. And, the unfortunate part about the low cost Facebook leads is a lot of that is future business. A lot of that is business that's 3 to 6 months from now. And so if your budget is low, go after that business, but know that it's not going to show up for another 3 to 6 months, right? If you want the now business, you got to talk to expireds. You got to talk to for sale by owners. You got to, pay for Realtor.com or pay for Zillow leads, people that have to move right now. And that's going to cost you a little bit more, but it's going to give you now business. If you can wait a little bit, then that's fine too. Then you go after the lower quality, low cost leads.
All right, good.
What's interesting is what Jeff just said. We went and did a little bit of a study actually before this whole episode started. We pulled every lead every closing for the last 12 months that we received off of Zillow or Realtor.com. And what we looked at was what zip code did it come in on and where did they buy? Because that's also something to look at and consider when you're looking at purchasing these zip codes. To see which one would generate more business. But also what we realized is that on these leads, we have an average of 8 months of nurture. Mm-hmm. And so, we can cherry pick a few off the top and, isn't that great? But to get the most out of those leads, you have to have a plan. You have to have a follow-up game because, the money is in the nurture and the follow-up. And something people could do right now is, I don't know, we don't know what the future holds. The government's infusing a lot of money into the market. So maybe we come out and the lights turn back on and we're going to be fine. Who knows? I anticipate that we're going to see some motivated sellers. We're going to see some sellers in distress. Buyers are going to be, lacking some cash. And with the mortgages tightening up right now, we're gonna lose about 30% of our buyer pool for a hot minute until it opens back up. What we can be doing is reaching out to anybody that has, our past clients. Do a quick CMA for them. What else are you doing? So send them a CMA and let them know, hey, just in case you need to know, here's where you stand with your equity right now. Here's how much you would have if you were to sell, refinance. And a great program for that is, HomeBot. But just let them know where they stand, because some people, maybe they could do a HELOC and access that cash and survive, or refinance and do a cash out. But if they've lost their job, which, we're in Orlando, Disney's down. And so the hotels are down and the conventions are down. And so we're going to be hit. If people are desperate and they need access to that equity, their only option may be to sell. And so you need to be in front of that and giving them their value and just say, just in case you need it, if you need any options, let me know. I'm happy to be your resource.
You said HomeBot, HomeBuy. What was that?
Homebot.com, I think it's called. Let me just double check. But yeah, homebot.com. It's a phenomenal
the tool.
It will send out like once a month of what is your home worth? What could you do with your equity? Could you buy an investment property? Could you refi? What about home improvements? That kind of thing. It's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. Awesome. What do you got, Jeff? Did we already,
what was the question again?
I don't know.
I thought I went first that time.
I think you did. So now my question that Jenny inspired was, so we do know that fortune is in the follow-up. We do know, no matter where the lead comes from, no matter where the referral comes from, that we're going to love on our people. But before they become our people officially, what do your follow-up systems look like for leads?
So I'll take that first then. So our follow-up system is really twofold. We have a manual one that we call a 3-3-3, and that's basically 3 calls, 3 texts and or emails within 3 days. And that's how we handle essentially every lead, with the goal again to determine their motivation. So 3 calls, 3 texts and or emails. So meaning like, hey, if they're responding better to text, then do 3 texts. If they're responding better than email, do email, right? Just pick one, or do 2 texts and 1 email, or 2 emails and 1 text, whatever. I don't care what combination of the 3 you use. 3 calls, 3 texts or emails, and within 3 days. And from there, if we don't have a response, then they get set up on a follow-up campaign or a drip campaign. And that is just a matter of reminders, emails, phone calls, texts, the normal stuff. So before they get set up on any campaigns, it is a manual process of what I wouldn't say, 333 is aggressive, but it's definitely proactive. And again, remember, we're trying to determine the motivation first. And then we know how aggressively to follow up with them.
So then so if you don't get them in 3 days, you still have all their contact info. What is the next system or action plan or smart plan that gets assigned to them moving forward?
Yeah, so they get set up on an automated drip campaign that is a combination of texts, emails within a 30-day period, and call reminders. So reminding our agents to call them. And from there, my belief has been, and it might be a little different than Jenny's, because I heard her philosophy on 8 months. That's a long time for us. We are as much as possible looking for now business. And yes, that involves converting low-hanging fruit for sure. But at the same time, we have the belief, and I know this is probably a little different than what's being preached right now. I have the belief that once they go in the CRM, they're out of sight, they're out of mind. Maybe they'll come back. It's bonus business. We work real hard in those 3 days, those 72 hours, to do everything we can to get a response from them. If we don't get a response from them, they're set up on a drip campaign. And from there, if it comes back to us, it's bonus business.
Okay, got it. How's yours different or same?
We are almost identical to the, the follow-up. The only difference is we do have them on an automatic plan when they first hit. So they get an instant email and an instant text. Then everything else is pushed off to 10 days. And from the beginning to 10 days, it becomes manual. So it's just like what Jeff said, the 333s. I don't know what our actual formula is, but it's very manual because we're wanting to answer the question they pose. So if it was a request about a property, a specific property, we want to make sure that we're giving them the answer instead of a generic response. And it's very manual. Now, when it gets to 10 days and they have not, put their hand up, or they're not contacted and they haven't responded in any way, then we put them back into automation. So they get dripped on email, but we also put them into YLOPO retargeting so that they are getting an IDX search in front of them. So then if they log into that and set up a search, which is the mousetrap, right? Everybody wants to look at houses. Now we can see what they're looking at. So have they looked at a property 9 times? Have they, they logged in again after 42 days? And then that brings that client back up out of the abyss that Jeff was talking about. And, we have someone in charge of calling those people that have kind of, become a priority. The follow-up, the 8-month nurture is when we do get in touch with them, we separate our database by contacted and uncontacted. So uncontacted, I don't care if we drip on them. I don't care if Raya, the bot, talks to them, like they're in the abyss, like Jeff talked about. But if they're contacted and we know, they were just looking, they were just starting, they are thinking about relocating, or they may get that job transfer, those are the nurtures that we keep in touch with. And we do that, and we, what we say on our team is what's next. We always have a what's next task based on the response that they gave us. And, and also just a small tweak to think about is, and I think a lot of people miss it, is do they have a home to sell as well? So they were looking at this property, but do they have a home to sell? Do a quick Spokio search, see where they live, get that address in there, mail them something, put them on a home bot so they know what their home is worth, whatever that may be. So it's really bulking out that database, but having a plan around every contact. And if they're relocating, we have an automated follow-up plan for relocation with that language in it. Or if they were renting a year, we have a plan for that. We know what's next. And And when throughout the year they get information about first-time home buyer, so there's a plan around every lead.
So you guys have all these amazing systems. You have people to help you with these systems. You have people to help implement all these things. What about the agents that are single agents or newer in the business or smaller teams that they just don't even know how to get started? Could you imagine that there could be some limiting beliefs around, I don't even know what my email drip would say, so how do I know what to do? So I'm just not going to do it. What do you say to some of those limiting beliefs? Jeff, go.
Well, for starters, most of the systems have stock stuff in there, right? Stock templates for text messages, stock templates for email campaigns. I would also, in addition to that, I would utilize like these Facebook groups like yours to ask questions. Don't be embarrassed. I would also say make sure you're paying attention to who you get advice from, because I think there's a lot of people in Facebook groups that probably aren't doing a lot of production giving advice. But I would say don't be afraid to ask questions even in a group like this about, all right, what is the best drip campaign you guys have seen? What is the best email blast campaign you've seen, right? We've all got, a lot of the stuff that Jenny does, she's learned from other agents. A lot of the stuff that I do, I've observed from other agents, right? There's some things that there's agents that have been doing for years that I just started this year, and maybe vice versa. So I think just staying as connected as possible to a group like this, and not being afraid to ask questions, and it's okay. We were all there once.
Yeah, we all rip off and duplicate each other. So what do you think?
100%.
Yeah, what do you think, Jenny?
I forgot the question. You're so bad. I can't remember what the question was.
Yeah, just around the whole,
I know. What does single agent do? Yeah. So, I always tell single agents, listen, if you're going to pay for a lead, you have to have a plan to answer that phone. Because if not, we're going to eat you alive, because we're going to be on it with backup to backup, so it is speed of leads. So don't invest if you're going to buy leads, don't invest in them unless you have a plan to answer that phone. So that could be your mom. I mean, it doesn't have to be an elaborate ISA that knows what to do. The point is answer the phone and be genuine and try to figure out what do they need. They're calling you, so it could be, you could have your mom on round robin, you could have your husband on round robin, like put somebody on that phone if you're going to do this, and who is going to respond to emails and what do they say, because that is so important, or else it's a waste of money, because it's a highly competitive environment, highly competitive. And then you've got to have a plan around your Facebook. Like, Facebook can be gold if you are working it, but you can't just put out content and then never pay attention to it. If you put something, like if I was a single agent, I had one listing and I put it out onto Facebook and 10 people like it, I may message those 10 people and say, we can't do this, it's too cumbersome, but like, hey, I saw you like my post. Does that mean you're in the market to buy real estate? Like, yeah. I would be working every little angle that you can possibly work, and just letting them know you're a realtor. Stop being a secret agent. But it's all about answering the phone and doing something. If you don't have a professional graphic designer on your team, don't let that stop you. Everything lasts for about 10 seconds. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to get done.
Yeah.
So, learn from your mistakes and move on, but something is better than nothing.
I think that's always the answer. Just get into action. And we know from lots of experience that follow up. That's how you'll win at this game. This is how you'll survive any kind of a shift or even an amazing market. That's how you'll thrive. Any final words that you guys want to share? That went really fast, and there's so much more I want to pick your brains on, but we'll do it another time. Jeff, why don't you just wrap up and share with everyone how they can learn more about you, all the value that you give back to agents, and
Sure.
how they can reach out.
No, I appreciate that. Well, first of all, obviously, if you have any referrals for Detroit or Grand Rapids, we'd love to help you. But if you want additional resources, for instance, I mentioned, ask in Jenny's group. We have a Facebook group as well. It's called Glover U Inner Circle. And we put on events all around the country. Hopefully we'll be putting them on again soon. Jenny and Jenny were just on a panel together at our event down in Orlando. But we're constantly, almost like every day right now, putting out either a new script or a new video or a new audio or a new whatever. Today, just before this, I was doing a session on recruiting agents to your team, recruiting agents to your company. So all of that can be found in the Glover U Inner Circle, or you can follow us on Facebook at Glover U or on YouTube as well.
Yep. Thanks for all you do, Jeff. That's awesome.
Yeah, of course.
How about you, Jenny?
I'm just going to throw this up there so people could take a quick screenshot. If you guys would like copies of these slides, I have to put out a caveat that I did these. This is not my graphic designer, so she's probably cringing right now. But there is a bit.ly here that you can go to get these slides if you would like them for some ideas on what to do in your Facebook groups and such. So
That's awesome.
we would welcome your referrals in Orlando.
That is awesome. You can share that with me and I'll share it with everyone. That's amazing.
All right.
Thanks for being such givers. Thanks for being such leaders. It's so great watching you and all you do to give back to your communities, to your teams, to your clients, and to real estate agents across the country. I appreciate you so much. Have a great weekend.
Good seeing you guys.
Anyway,
Thanks
right?
we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Stay warm.